As usual, before starting today's class, let us have a quick recap of last class topic. In the last class, we studied 78XX series, which is the series of three terminal voltage regulator devices. In this series, we have a number of devices, and each device is an IC voltage regulator. On the screen, you can see the block diagram of 78XX series device. So it basically performs voltage regulation at the output end using this mechanism. In this mechanism, we have two important blocks. One is thermal shutdown and current limiting. The second block is an op-amp amplifier, which is working like a voltage comparator. Apart from that, we have a voltage divider, which consists of two resistances, R-1, R-2. In this formula, we can see how V out and the ratio of R-1 plus R-2 to R-1 and V reference are related with the V out. You can see from this expression. In this diagram, R-1 and R-2, as I had told in the last class, they are within the IC itself. They are not external resistances. These are resistances which are put inside the IC itself, and they would be trimmed to get a proper voltage output. For example, if the IC is 7805, R-1 and R-2 would be trimmed such that IC 7805 would produce a 5 volt constant output voltage for V out. Similarly, if the IC is 7824, the value of R-1 and R-2 would be trimmed such that IC 7824 would produce a 24 volt constant regulated voltage at V out. That is how this R-1 and R-2 would work. What about this op-amp amplifier is, it is working like a voltage regulator. It would compare the value of V reference with the voltage divider value from R-2, and if both lines are same, if the value of both lines are same, then output of this amplifier would be 0, and the pass transistor would allow the value of input voltage to appear at the output, and uh, there is no necessity to make any corrections. Suppose if both voltages are not equal, then what would happen is this voltage follower or comparator, what it will do is it will send a correction voltage that will in turn trigger this current limiting block, and it will make this pass transistor to adjust the value of being that it is taking inside to correct the changes in the output. And one more thing, if there is any temperature breakdown, if the temperature increases beyond 175 degrees centigrade, this thermal shutdown block of this would be activated, and it would in turn switch off this pass transistor. This pass transistor could be a BJT or MOSFET. When this pass transistor is switched off, essentially you will not get any output voltage, therefore V out will be 0, and this IC would not be functioning. Because of the presence of this thermal shutdown and current limiting feature, most of these ICs are almost indestructible. And to be specific, in this subject, you are going to study 7805 IC features. So in the last class, you have studied this also, 7805 fixed IC voltage regulator. So these are some of the features. The output voltage is constant 5, and maximum load current that it can allow is 1 ampere. And these are the three terminals which 7805 would have. The first one is input voltage, pin number 1. Pin number 2 is output voltage, and pin number 3 is a common terminal to which you are connecting the ground. And coming to load regulation and line regulation feature, load regulation you already know. It is the condition where only the output load current or output load resistance would vary, and input voltage and input resistances would be constant. That is load regulation condition. So this IC can withstand a load regulation up to 10 millivolt. So it can withstand up to 10 millivolt variation in the output, and it can withstand a current variation, and it can withstand this for a current range between 5 milliampere and 1.5 ampere. Similarly, this can withstand line regulation. What is line regulation? It is condition where only input voltage is varying, output load current or output load resistance would be constant. That is what is line regulation. And this IC 7805 IC can withstand a line regulation up to 3 millivolt, and it can withstand this line regulation, or it can withstand this variation if input is between this range 7 to 25. Similarly, you have some other features like output resistance 0.01 and so on. And one more important feature whenever we are using this 7805, we are connecting two external resistances C1 and C2. These are called as bypass capacitances C1 and C2. The purpose of C1 the purpose of C1 is to prevent oscillations at the input side. You already know that Vin is unregulated output from a rectifier or a capacitor filter. That unregulated output would definitely have some oscillations. Those oscillations will be consumed up by this C1, and in turn this C1 will act like a voltage source, a constant voltage source for this IC. Similarly, C2 is used to improve the frequency response. Whatever the output that comes from this 7805, it would be first fed to this C2. In turn, C2 would act as a voltage source, and from C2 you are picking the output. Therefore, you have a better frequency response. After this topic, in the last class, we again visited the equivalent circuit of diode, or a diode approximations topic, because our intention was to solve a few numericals on this equivalent circuit of diode, or diode approximations. Here, what do you mean by an equivalent circuit or a model? A model is a collection of some electronic components which would depict or which would resemble the behavior of actual semiconductor component. Here, the semiconductor component that we are intending is diode. So we are having a collection of some components like this battery, which is depicting the knee voltage or threshold voltage of a particular diode. If it is silicon, Vt value will be 0.7. If it is germanium diode, Vt value would be 0.3 volt. After that, we have a dynamic resistance. So usually diode would offer a finite amount of resistance whenever it is forward bias, and this dynamic resistance is a ratio of variation in voltage with respect to variation in current. And this resistance is model of that resistance offered by diode. And the next one is an ideal diode is one which acts like a short circuit whenever diode is forward biased. Yeah, it is as good as a straight wire, right? So while solving problems, we usually don't write this ideal diode. In place of this ideal diode, we simply write a straight line or a direct connection. This is called as piecewise linear model, where we take RD or dynamic resistance into consideration. One more model of this diode is there, that is called as approximate model. This approximate model has two components. One is Vt, which is the knee voltage or threshold voltage of diode. It is same again, 0.7 for silicon diode, 0.3 for germanium diode. After that, we have ideal diode. Ideal diode is same again. For forward bias diode, it is a short circuit. For reverse bias diode, it is open circuit. And again, while solving problems, we don't write this ideal diode. Whenever we replace diode by this equivalent circuit, we don't write this. In place of this, just we connect the both ends as a straight line. After having a quick knowledge of this, we discussed some of the numericals in last class. This is the first one, where we find out the value of capital I current in each of these circuits. Out of these circuits, 2.7a, this circuit, here we have a diode which would be reverse biased, therefore the value of I would be 0. The next circuit, which is this, here the diode would be forward biased, and Here we calculated the current in this way. We have taken this voltage source. Along with that, we subtracted the threshold voltage of this, because we have to replace this silicon diode with the approximate model. So approximate model consists of one battery. Therefore, you get this much: 20 minus 0.7 divided by 20. 20 is this resistance. In turn, you get the current as 0.965 ampere. Then last one is this. Here we have connected two diodes in opposite direction. Obviously, one of them would be reverse biased. If one diode is reverse biased, that is sufficient for not considering the complete branch, because this entire branch would be acting like a open circuit. Therefore, the equivalent circuit will be only this much. A voltage source of 10 volt is connected to a 10 ohm resistance. So in turn, you get the value of I as minus 10 by 10. Why minus means? Because in the problem, the current direction is indicated from top to bottom, but this is actually in reverse of the conventional current direction. Always the conventional current flow from the positive terminal of the battery, and it will end up to the negative terminal of the battery. Therefore, the conventional current direction is reverse with that of the direction of current shown in the problem. Therefore, we have to take minus sign. Minus 10. Minus 10 is at the 10 volt divided by 10 is this resistance. This is V by R, which will be minus 1 ampere. Then later on we discussed one more problem. Here also we have to replace this with approximate model, which will give us a battery in place of diode. Here we found out the value of ID, the current which is flows through this in this way, which is 8 minus 0.7. 0.7 is this value, right? 8 minus 0.7 divided by the sum of resistances, 1.2 plus 4.7. So we got this resultant. Actually, starting with the KVL. First, we have applied a KVL in this way. We have traversed this path. Actually, here plus 8 means the positive terminal of battery would be connected to this node. Negative terminal will come first, and from negative terminal, it is grounded. Grounded means the terminal of negative terminal of this battery is connected to negative terminal of this battery. Because ground means it is a common point. Hence, we have a closed path here. If we start from this 8 volt, we get the negative terminal first. Therefore, take it as plus 8. Then if you move in this direction, the next voltage source that we get is zero point 0.7. That too we encounter positive terminal of this battery first. Therefore, take it as minus zero point 0.7. This is one part of KVL, which is summation of EMFs. The second part of KVL is summation of IR products. As we are traversing in this direction, this is the first resistance. Therefore, ID into 1.2 plus ID into 4.7. So at one end of the equation, you have 8 minus 0.7, which is summation of EMFs, which is equal to at the other end, that is at the RHS, you have ID into 1.2 plus ID into 4.7. Therefore, by making simplification, you get this one, which is 8 minus zero point 0.7 in the numerator divided by 1.2 plus 4.7. You end up getting 1.237 milliampere after simplification. From this value, what you intend to calculate is the output voltage. So output voltage V naught, it is a summation of the voltage drop across this resistance 4.7 kilo ohm plus this voltage source, that is zero point 0.7. Therefore, the voltage drop across this would be 4.7 into the current ID. Current ID is 1.237. Here milli we have neglected, and also kilo we have neglected. Both would be cancelled, plus this voltage source 0.7. We get 6.51 volt. Next, we have solved this problem, which is very important problem in the last class. Here, what we have to do is we have to perform source conversion. In the problem, they have given current source, but we don't know how to calculate the circuit parameters when a current source is given. We are not yet comfortable with that. Therefore, what we do is we make a adjustment That is, we convert this current source of 10 milliampere to a voltage source of 25 volt with the 2.5 kilo ohm resistance in series. So after conversion, we get something like this, right? So how to convert that I have told in the last class. You may see the video of ELN class 7 for that. And after conversion, the resultant circuit is this. From this, we calculate ID value in this way, in the same way. That is, we take a KVL, that is summation of EMFs equals summation of IR products, and we make simplification to get ID. Simplification means actually we rearrange the terms to get whatever we require. We require ID. Therefore, we make arrangements of terms such that we get ID value. Then after getting that, we calculate V naught. V naught in this case is only the voltage drop across this resistance 1.25 kilo ohm. Therefore, we multiply current which we get in the first step with the resistance value to get 8.1 volt. Then afterwards, circuit B is this one. Here we have to calculate V naught. So V naught is just at the second end of 6.5 kilo ohm. So directly we can take this V naught value, and before calculating that V naught value, what we require is the current which flows through this, right? And the same current would flow through diode also. The current again we calculate using same KVL. That current would is 3.738 milli. From that we calculate V naught. So V naught would be 20 volt, which is the total voltage applied at this node minus the voltage drop, right? So the voltage drop is current into 6.5, that is resistance. You get minus 4.3 volt for this. And in other way also, we can calculate directly V naught, which comes to be minus 4.3. So at last, in the last class, we have solved this problem where we have silicon diode and germanium diode together. So a 12 volt DC source or a battery is connected to silicon diode. The cathode end of silicon diode, which is labeled as V01. From this V01, a resistance of 4.5 kilo ohm is connected to one end of germanium diode. That is, anode of germanium diode is connected to this. This node is also called as V02. So the first thing is, easily we can find out what is V02. V02 is voltage across this germanium diode, and assume that if germanium diode is forward biased, the voltage across a forward biased diode would be exactly equal to the VT, that is V threshold or knee voltage. The knee voltage for this germanium diode is 0.3. Therefore, V02 is 0.3. Once we get this one, what we have to do is we have to calculate the remaining part, that is V01, right? So how to calculate V01 is V01 from this diagram you can make out that it is nothing but the cathode terminal of silicon diode. At the anode terminal we have 12 volt. Assume that this silicon diode is forward biased. So in place of this silicon diode you have one battery of voltage 0.7. If you replace this silicon diode with its equivalent circuit, you have a battery of voltage zero point 0.7. Therefore, at this end, you get a V01 as 12 volt minus zero point 0.7. 12 volt minus zero point 0.7, which is 11.3. One more important thing to note in this problem is 4.5 kilo ohm resistance doesn't have any significance in calculating either V01 or V02. Now let us start with this problem in today's class. This was not discussed in the last class. Here in this figure 2.13, you again have a silicon diode and a germanium diode, but they are connected in parallel, as you can see in this diagram, right? So at one end, you have a 12 volt battery, 12 volt DC voltage source, which is connected at the common point of both branches here, right? So a current capital I is flowing through this. According to this circuit, we have two branches, one silicon diode branch, one germanium diode branch. Therefore essentially this current capital I should split into two parts, as it is a as there is a two branches, right? So at this end you have the output voltage V naught. So this node is V naught, and to this node itself we have a resistance of 1 kilo ohm. The other end of this 1 kilo ohm is connected to ground. So this resistance or this complete arm can also be present here, and V naught can be present in the place of 1 kilo ohm, but it is just interchanged to give some kind of twist, or to give some kind of challenge to the student, right? That's all. These two arms can be interchanged, no issues with that, right? Both are same. So what we have to consider here is, we know the VT value. The first thing is we have to replace silicon diode and germanium diode with the approximate model. Once we replace silicon diode with approximate model, in place of this silicon diode, what we have the battery of 0.7 volt. In place of germanium diode, we have the battery of zero point 0.3 volt. What is 0.3? 0.3 is the threshold voltage or knee voltage beyond which germanium diode would conduct. So out of these two, the value of threshold voltage of germanium, which is zero point 0.3, is very much less compared to the threshold voltage zero point 0.7 of silicon. Therefore, out of these two, germanium, assume that germanium would conduct first, germanium diode. If germanium diode conducts first, what would happen is this entire current I would flow through this germanium diode, and you would receive some kind of voltage drop across this current, across this resistance 1 kilo ohm, because through which the current capital I would flow. Now try to find out this capital I value. How would you find out capital I value? So it is very simple. Capital I would be equal to, again by applying KVL, and making a rearrangement, capital I would be equal to this voltage source 12 volt minus the voltage drop across this, which is zero point 0.3. 12 minus zero point 0.3 would be in numerator. At the denominator you have the 1 kilo ohm. 1 kilo ohm is the resistance through which this current I would flow, right? So that is the resistance, which is 1 kilo ohm. So what you will have, 1 kilo means 10 raised to 3. If you take 10 raised to 3 in the numerator, it becomes 10 raised to minus 3, which is nothing but milli. Therefore 12 minus zero point 0.3, 12 minus zero point 0.3 would result in 11.7. And as there is milli, 10 raised to minus 3, you can write it as 11.7 milliampere. That is the value of capital I. Now after getting this capital I, if you try to find out V naught, if you try to find V naught is simply the voltage just at this node, or it is simply the voltage across this resistance 1 kilo ohm, right? So how do you find out voltage across this resistance 1 kilo ohm? You have to simply multiply the current capital I with this resistance. Current capital I is 11.7 milliampere. Therefore multiply 11.7 milliampere with 1 kilo ohm. Here kilo and milli are cancelled. Therefore you have simply 1 into 11.7, which gives you 11.7 volt. That is V naught. Now V naught is 11.7 volt. At the input you have 12 volt, right? So what we have assumed initially is silicon diode is off. Now to justify our assumption, if you consider this end, that is anode of silicon is connected to 12 volt, cathode of silicon is connected to V naught. What is V naught? V naught is 11.7. So anode is to 12, cathode is 11.7. The difference between the voltage at anode and cathode is 12 minus 11.7, which is only 0.3 volt. So 0.3 volt is very much less compared to the threshold voltage or knee voltage of silicon, where the knee voltage or threshold voltage of silicon is zero point 0.7. Hence, our assumption is correct that silicon diode would never conduct in this circuit, and only germanium diode would conduct, and at the output you get a voltage drop V naught equals 11.7. I hope this problem is clear for you, for all of you. If you have any questions in this problem, you may ask. All right, then I will proceed to the next problem. So here in this example, this is again a textbook example. We have a peculiar circuit called as logic OR gate, negative logic OR gate. First of all these gates, that is OR gate, AND gate, XOR gate, NOT gate, NAND gate, NOR, all these gates come under a category of electronic circuits called as the digital circuits, which I have told in the very first class, that is the introductory class of this subject. So all these digital circuits work on something called as voltage levels or logic levels. So these logic levels are logic 1 and logic 0. Suppose we say that the digital circuit is working using positive logic, it means that logic 1 refers to a positive voltage, for example, plus 5, right? Similarly, logic 0 represents a 0 voltage, right? That is 0 volt. Now, if I say that a circuit is working using negative logic, it means that logic 1 is represented by minus 5 volt, right? Be careful with this. Negative logic means logic 1 or simply 1 for a digital circuit is represented by minus 5 volt, and 0 for the logic circuit is represented by again same 0 volt. Now we have a circuit which is made up of diodes, and this circuit is realizing the function of a OR gate. The function of a OR gate. We know that how an OR gate behaves. OR gate is a two-input logic gate whose output would be 1 if one of the inputs is 1. If both inputs are 0, output of the OR gate would be 0. That is how this OR gate would behave. It performs logical OR between the both input values and produces the output. Output would be 1 in 3 cases, where one of the inputs is 1 in 2 cases, and the third case when both inputs are 1, which is as shown in this table. This table is called as truth table, and output would be 0 only when both inputs are zeros for OR gate. Then only output would be 0, right? So here we have a circuit consisting of diodes which realizes this OR function. So let us see this circuit. We have two diodes and we have two arms here, or two branches. The first branch is having same silicon diode, second branch is also having silicon diode, but the input at the first branch is minus 5. As I already told, in a negative logic, connecting minus 5 is as good as applying logic 1 at the input, right? And here for the second diode, which is also silicon diode, what we have connected is logic 0. So logic 0 is as good as connecting 0 volt, right? At the output we have V naught, so this would be the output of your OR gate circuit, and we have a resistance of 1 kilo ohm here. So whatever the voltage drop that occurs across this resistance, that would be considered as your V naught, or output value, right, of your OR gate, right? So now 5 volt is connected to cathode of silicon diode, minus 5. Minus 5 means negative terminal of battery is connected to cathode or negative terminal of diode. The positive terminal of this diode is connected to the ground through this resistance 1 kilo ohm. Then what would be the condition of this silicon diode? Obviously, the positive terminal is at a higher potential because 0 volt is considered as higher potential with respect to minus 5 volt. Therefore, this diode would be forward biased because cathode is connected to negative terminal which is minus 5. Hence, cathode is at a lesser potential, lower potential. Anode, which is connected to ground, anode which is connected to ground through this resistance, right? Even though ground is 0 volt, cathode is at anode is at higher potential. Therefore, this silicon diode would be forward biased. Once this silicon diode is forward biased, what would happen is, first thing is you have to replace this silicon diode with its equivalent circuit. If you use approximate model, then you have to replace this diode with a battery. So the negative terminal of battery would come here and the positive terminal would come here, right? Therefore, what you have to do is you have to subtract the value of this battery with the value of minus 5 volt to get the voltage drop across this resistance, because the voltage drop across this resistance would be simply the subtraction of the applied voltage with the threshold voltage or the voltage drop across diode. Therefore, your V naught would be minus 5 plus zero point 0.7, which would come to minus 4.3 volt. So that would be the voltage drop across this. Hence, you can consider this minus 4.3 volt, which is almost nearly equal to minus 5 as logic 1, right? So what we have here is we have 1 at one end of one input and 0 at second input. As it is logical OR gate, the output of OR gate would be 1 because one of the inputs is high. Hence, the output, which is equal to minus 4.3 volt, which is nearly equal to minus 5, should be taken as logic 1, right? Similarly, if you consider this one, here it is 0, right? Already this end is connected to 0, that is anode is connected to 0. As both ends of the silicon diode are connected to 0 volt, it will never be forward biased. It would be obviously reverse biased. Therefore, this is open circuit, right? Hence, if any one of these arms or any one of these branches, if the input is connected with 0 volt, right, then obviously the particular branch would be reverse biased and it will not have any significance in calculation of V naught, right? Now you assume a condition where both inputs are connected to minus 5, right? As we already know, if we connect cathode of one diode with minus 5 in this circuit, obviously that diode would be forward biased. Hence, when you connect both diodes with minus 5, both diodes would be forward biased, right? And current would flow in the same direction, and you get the same V naught value as minus 4.3 volt, right? And hence this table which indicates the operation of OR gate, right? So this table successfully you can map this with the behavior of this circuit for different values of inputs for these two diodes. Hence this realizes negative logic OR gate. I hope this circuit is clear to all of you. It is a very important circuit. It is realizing negative logic OR gate. Negative logic means the logic 1 is represented by minus 5 volt and the logic 0 would be represented by 0 volt. Next we have one more typical circuit. This is negative logic AND gate. AND gate we already know it is a digital circuit where the output of this gate would be 1 when both inputs of this AND gate are logic 1. If any one of the input of this AND gate is at 0, output of this AND gate would be 0. That is indicated by this truth table, right? So the logic AND gate is represented or it is realized using this diode circuit. Here also negative logic means minus 5 volt is used to represent logic 1 and 0 volt is used to represent logic 0. So here you consider this circuit, right? So we have two diodes, both are silicon diodes, right? The first diode, here the anode is connected to negative terminal of battery minus 5 volt, right? So obviously this diode would be reverse biased, right? Reverse bias means this would be off. This diode is off. If this diode is off, there is no significance of this complete branch, right? Now you consider only this branch, that is the second diode's branch. Here you have connected 0 volt at the positive terminal of the diode, that is anode is connected to 0 volt. Now you consider cathode. Cathode is this end, which is connected to the negative terminal of this battery. This is a DC source again, which is indicated by a small circle, and here negative terminal is connected to this cathode. As negative terminal is connected to cathode and the positive terminal is grounded, minus 5 is mentioned here, minus 5. Suppose the case is reverse. If positive terminal is used for connection and negative terminal is grounded, then it would be plus 5, right? Now positive terminal is grounded, therefore it is minus 5. So this end is connected to minus 5. This end is connected to 0. Therefore, anode is at higher potential 0 compared to cathode. Cathode is at lower potential minus 5. 0 is greater than minus 5. Therefore, this diode would be forward biased and current will flow in this direction. So as this diode is forward biased and current flows in this direction, this node, right, this node, if you try to compare the voltage across this node, it is as good as the voltage at the input of this diode, right? So it would be 0. V naught would be 0, right? Hence we get 0 when one of the inputs is 0, which realizes the function of AND gate. You can also consider that if the same 0 volt is applied to the first diode, then also the condition would be same. The diode would be forward biased. As soon as diode is forward biased, this node will directly come in contact with the input. Input would be 0, therefore this node would be at 0 volt. Now there is a condition when both inputs are at minus 5 volt. Minus 5 volt is as good as applying logic 1 for both inputs of AND gate. Then what would happen is both diodes would be turned off, right? If both diodes are turned off, it is as good as saying that the first branch, this one, the first branch and the second branch, right, can be completely taken off, right? They can be taken out. No significance of both branches on V naught. Now, this circuit would be very much simplified. You have V naught node directly connected to one end of resistance. At other end of resistance, you have this voltage source where you have connected negative terminal of battery to the resistance. Therefore, V naught would be equal to directly minus 5 volt when both diodes are off, right? So it is as good as saying when both inputs are 1, output will be 1 because output is minus 5 when both inputs are 1. When both inputs are 1, it is as good as saying both inputs are minus 5. When both inputs are minus 5, both diodes would be off and your output V naught will directly come into contact with minus 5. Hence output would be minus 5 and output should be considered as logic 1. So the behavior is completely represented, or the behavior completely matches or maps with this truth table. Hence the negative logic AND gate is realized. I hope this is also clear to you and no doubts in this. Okay, then I will proceed to one more last problem. So the last problem, just I have made one addition. This problem is with respect to drawing sketches. We would have some circuit with some values. From those values, we have to make some calculations, and at the end, we have to draw some sketches of whatever parameter that is asked in the problem. So let us read out this problem. For the diode network of figure 2.30, this is 2.30, sketch Vi. Vi means the input, which is a sinusoidal voltage. Vd. Vd means the voltage across this diode, which is also the threshold voltage Vt or knee voltage, which would be zero point 0.7 for silicon, 0.3 for germanium. And Id. Id is nothing but the current which flows through the diode. So we have to draw sketches for Vi, Vd, and Id, right? And one more important thing that is mentioned in the problem is the frequency of input. As input is a sine wave, input is a sine wave, the frequency of that sine wave is 50 hertz. Frequency can be denoted by small f. Small f is equal to 50 hertz, and the time interval, which is capital T, you already know capital T is equal to 1 by f. Therefore, 1 divided by 50 will give you capital T. What is capital T? It is the time interval, or it is the interval of one cycle or one time period, right? And one more important thing that is mentioned in this problem is they have indicated that this diode is ideal. So this is an ideal diode. Ideal diode means if you remember the equivalent circuit of diode, the first model is for ideal diode model. So this is the first model, right? Ideal diode, right? So ideal diode is as good as a short circuit whenever it is forward biased. Hence, during forward bias, as soon as we increase the voltage slightly above zero, immediately a large current would flow. That is what is ideal diode. And in the reverse direction, right? In the reverse direction, there is no current at all. Means this would be open circuit. That is what is ideal diode. Here also in a piecewise linear model and approximate model, we have ideal diode, which would represent only a short circuit in forward bias and open circuit in reverse bias. So we have to use this ideal diode as a replacement of this diode, which is given in this problem, right? Because it is mentioned as ideal. So according to the given parameters in this problem, what they have given is they have not given the value of input Vi. Directly they have given the output. This is a simple half wave rectifier where there is only one diode. So output DC voltage or output average or mean output voltage is a 2 volt. That is the output. And we have also the RL or load resistance, which is 2.5 kilo ohm, right? So from this given VDC, we can calculate what is called as VM, because we know that VDC is VM by pi for half wave rectifier. Already we have derived this. The output voltage or mean output voltage or DC output voltage, VDC, is VM by pi, right? Which is equal to 2, right? If you make a cross multiplication, VM would be equal to 2 times pi, 2 pi volt, right? You can also substitute the value of pi as 3.414 and you can calculate the value also. But for time being, we have kept that as pi itself, right? 2 pi. From this, if you try to calculate the value of ID. ID is the current through this diode or current through this resistance. Current through diode and current through resistance is same because same ID would flow through diode and it would flow through 2.5 kilo ohm resistance as well, right? So that the peak value of ID, nothing but IM, capital IM would be equal to Vm by R. Already you know Vm. Vm is 2 pi, right? So 2 pi in numerator divided by R. R is 2.5 kilo, right? So kilo means 10 raised to capital 3. If you take that 10 raised to capital 3 to the numerator, it would become 10 raised to minus 3. My 10 raised to minus 3 is nothing but milli, right? So if you use your calculator and make a simplification, 2 into 3.414 divided by 2.5, which would come approximately as a 2.5, and if you consider 10 raised to minus 3, it would be 2.51 milliampere. That would be the value of IM. So after calculating VM value and IM value, we can start sketching the required waveforms. So the first waveform that we require here, is the waveform for Vi. So what is Vi? Input voltage. And what is input voltage? Input voltage is a sine wave, right, of frequency 50 hertz, right? So sine wave, usually it would start from the origin, right? Like this, it would start from the origin and it would move towards a point where it is having the peak value. From peak value, it will again come down and it will hit the x-axis. From x-axis, it will move towards negative y-axis, and again in negative y-axis, it would have a peak. From peak, it will again traverse to the x-axis and hit 0. Again, the process would repeat. From x-axis, it would move to the positive peak in the positive y-axis, and again it would come down to x-axis, and so on. This process would continue. So here, what we require is one thing is we want to know the time period or cycle time. So cycle time, which is capital T, can be calculated by inversing this f value. So capital T is equal to 1 by f and f is 50. Therefore, cycle time capital T would be equal to 1 by 50 seconds, which is mentioned here, 1 by 50 seconds. So the time interval between this origin and this point, that is 2 pi, would be 1 by 50 seconds. And here we know that the peak value Vm, peak value is 2 pi. So if you calculate 2 pi, what is pi? 3.414. 2 times of that would be 6.28. So 2 pi is 6.28 positive peak. So the value at this point or peak would be 6.28. And at the same time, if you consider the negative y-axis, so the negative peak would be same value with a minus sign. Therefore, it would be minus 6.28. This is our first sketch, that is sketch of Vi. Then next, the second sketch what they have asked in the problem is the sketch for small Vd. Small Vd is voltage drop across this diode, but what it is given is this is an ideal diode. Ideal diode means we have to replace this diode with ideal diode. Ideal diode is as good as a perfect short circuit during forward bias. Hence, there would be no voltage drop across this diode at all. Therefore, the Vd value would be 0 all the time because it is ideal diode, right? So, how to plot 0? 0 will be as good as a x-axis. Starts with 0 and it is omega t axis, and this is simply a x coordinate, and no points will be marked because it is Vd 0, right? It will lie in the x-axis itself. Then last sketch, what we have to do is the sketch for small id. Small id is the current which flows through this. As we know that output is a pulsating dc. Pulsating dc means we have a pulse, or we have rectified half cycle for positive half cycle of input, and we don't have any output for negative half cycle of the input, which would be something like this, right? The voltage as well as current waveform will be in the same manner. So while realizing the operation of this half wave rectifier, the waveform that we have drawn, is the waveform of voltage. I'm talking about this one, right? This is the input voltage Vi, output voltage V naught, and the peak value is Vm. So this is output voltage waveform. The current waveform will be in the same way itself, right? There will be no change, right? The current will also be in the same shape. Therefore, we take the same shape for output current ID also in this problem, right? So we have only the pulse for the positive half cycle of input. That is, for this positive half cycle, we have rectified output. For negative half cycle, we don't have any output. And again, for the next positive half cycle, we have the output again. And this cycle time will be same as this one, the cycle time, which is given by capital T equals 1 by 50. 50 is 50 hertz, which is given in the problem, 1 by 50 seconds. So the time between 0 to 2 pi is 1 by 50 seconds. And the peak is the Im value that you have calculated here. Im is equal to Vm by R, 2 pi by 2.5, which is 2.51 milliampere. So the peak is 2.5 milliampere. At the negative y-axis, you don't have any output. Therefore, don't mark anything on the negative y-axis. So this is one typical problem. I hope you understood this. How to draw the waveforms for Vi, Vd, and Id for ideal diode. I hope there are no doubts with respect to this problem. This problem is based on a rectifier where they have asked you to sketch the output waveforms of particular parameters. So this almost completes this module 1. Now what I will do is I will pick up one problem from one of the model question paper, that is this one. I hope this is visible to you. So this is one of the questions in one of the model paper. This question is on equivalent circuit of diode or diode approximations. So what is given here is a diode circuit shown below has E, capital E 1.5 volt, R1 10 ohm. By assuming Vf equals 0.7 volt, calculate If for the first case Rd equals 0. Second case Rd equals 0.25 ohm. So this is the very simple circuit. This is the voltage source, DC voltage source. What is the value? 1.5 volt. So this is connected to a resistance R1, which is 10 ohm, and we have a diode, right? So the under first case, they have given RD0, means we have to replace this diode with approximate model. So approximate model of diode has only a battery. So we have to replace this with battery of magnitude zero point 0.7, which is given here. VF. VF is it is VF for silicon, or VT, threshold voltage of silicon, or knee voltage of silicon, which is zero point 0.7. So here in place of this diode we have zero point 0.7 battery, right? Now assuming a current flows in this direction, that current I would be equal to the resultant of these two voltage sources. The resultant of these two voltage sources is 1.5 volt minus 0.7 volt, which would be equal to 0.8 volt, divided by the resistance. Resistance is 10 ohm. For the first case, RD is 0. Therefore, if we use a calculator, in the numerator you have the resultant of two voltage sources, which is 1.5 volt minus zero point 0.7, which will be zero point 0.8, divided by 0.8 divided by what you have is the resistance 10 divided by 10. So you will get this as 0.08. If you convert that to milli, this would become 80 milliampere. 80 milliampere, that is answer for capital I, or current, for the first case where RD is 0. In the second case, RD is equal to 0.25 ohm. So what you have to do is you have to replace this diode with the linear piecewise model of the diode. So linear piecewise model of the diode not only has a battery, it also has a resistance whose value is equal to small rd, as you can see in this slide. So this is a linear piecewise model. It has battery which is equal to Vt, which is zero point 0.7 in this case, and a resistance which is equal to Rd, and an ideal diode which is short circuit or forward bias condition. So using this, what we have for our problem is we have one more resistance and a battery. There is resistance and battery connected in series. The value of resistance is 0.25. Therefore, we have to add up both resistances as they are in series to find out the effective resistance. Therefore, effective resistance would be 10 plus 0.25, 10.25. That is the effective resistance. The effective voltage you already know by applying the KVL, you get it as 1.5 minus zero point 0.8. Sorry, 1.5 minus zero point 0.7, which is 0.8, right? Therefore, using calculator, here what you have is 0.8, which is effective of both voltage sources, 1.5 minus zero point 0.7, divided by 10 plus 0.25, that is 10.25, 10.25. So this would come to 0.780, or in simple words, in terms of milli, this would be 78 milli. So for the first case, the current value is 80 milli, where you have considered RD is 0. In second case, you have current value 78 milli, which is less than 2 milliampere compared to the first case because of the presence of RD. I hope this problem is clear. This is given in one of the model question papers of VTU. Any doubts in this one? I hope there is no doubt. This problem is based on equivalent circuit of diode. This is one more model paper. Here we have a question. A full wave bridge rectifier with an input of 100 volt RMS feeds a load of 1 kilo ohm, where Vt equals zero point 0.7 volt. What you have to find out is the first one: if the diodes employed are of silicon, what is the DC voltage across the load? That is VDC, we have to find out. Then second one, we have to find out PIV, that is peak inverse voltage rating of each diode. The third one is determine the maximum current that each diode conducts and the diode power rating. So this is the problem. I think this problem already we have solved in one of the classes. So the problem is already there It is there in the PPT. We have solved in one of the classes. Just we shall recall that problem. The problem is based on rectifiers. So this is the problem. A full wave bridge rectifier with an input of 100 volt RMS feeds a load of 1 kilo ohm where VT is zero point 0.7, and these are the parameters which we have to find out. Right. So this problem already we have solved in one of the classes in class 5, I think. So if you see the video of class 5, you can recall the complete explanation with respect to this problem, how to arrive at the solution for this problem. Next, in this question paper, in this model 2 question paper, again it is, yeah, any doubts? We have one more problem here. A silicon diode has IS is reverse saturation current at 10 nanoampere operating at 25 degrees centigrade. Calculate the forward current for a forward bias of zero point 0.6 volt. So this problem also we have solved. This is based on diode equation. Diode equation. It is also there in the PPT, and it has been explained in one of the class videos. If we go through that video, you can see the complete solution, how it has been solved. I hope it is solved in a second class video, ELN class 2 video. This is the problem. A silicon diode has IS 10 nanoampere operating at 25 degrees centigrade. Calculate ID for forward bias of 6.6 volt. So we have to essentially use this current equation, which is capital ID equals IS into e to the power of k Vd divided by Tk minus 1. So using this equation, we can calculate the value of ID. So this is the solution. It has been discussed in ELN class 2. You can watch that video and get the explanation for that. Moving on, this is one of the question papers. This is December 2018 or January 2019 question paper. It is for same scheme, EL 18 ELN 14. Right. So here one problem is there. For the circuit shown in figure Q2D, find current voltages in the circuit for RL equals 450 ohm, and this is the circuit. It is not much visible. It is a handwritten circuit of the question paper. So if you see this problem, this also we have solved in one of the classes, the class where we discussed Zener diode voltage regulator. So we have solved that problem. I will just go to that problem. So it is the very first problem that we have solved, right? So it is case number 2, that is case B of this problem. So the same problem is given, only one case of this problem is given in the question paper of December 2018, January 2019. So here what we have to assume is RL is 450, and we have to assume that the Zener diode is conducting, and we have to find out the parameters. You can find the explanation of this in the previous class videos, and it is also there in the PPT. The same problem has been asked in one of the question papers. Moving on. So we have a few more question papers to discuss. I will do that in the next class. Along with that, if you have any queries, please list out them, and you can definitely ask those queries in the next class. That is on Thursday, 9 to 10.